Hello, this is Russ Walden with Father's Heart Ministry, and this is the Mentoring Minute. I want to recap the last 4 mentoring minutes by bringing all of them together so we can see them as a cohesive whole in terms of God's process in the pressure. The first thing we want to look at is do what you see the Father do. Jesus said in John 5:19, after he went to the pool of Bethesda, healed one person among thousands, and left with a clean conscience. He was questioned, why didn't he heal them all? He said, because I only do what I see the Father do. Well, how does that work? How can you see what the Father wants you to do? Well, that's the Father's responsibility. He obligates himself to see to it that you know you've heard from him, and it's your obligation to respond to that leading, and then you will begin to experience everything you say and do becoming as effective as if God said it or did it. It's like, I believe it's Ephesians 6:1 says, be a follower of God as dear children. The word follower there means imitator. That means do what God would do if he were in your position, and God will back you up. And once you do what you see the Father do, what next? Matthew 7:1 says, judge not that ye be not judged. That's not just a scripture about can't we all just get along. The word judge there means to have an opinion. So you do what you see the Father do, and then pressure comes. Now you're in the process, in the pressure. You do what you see the Father do, and then you have no opinion. This is how you get your mind right under pressure. You choose to have no opinion about the consequences of doing what you see the Father do. You'll step out and obey God, and people will be looking at you like you're crazy. Your friends will be counseling you that you might not should have done what you're doing, and you have to set all of that aside and say, I have no opinion about that. And you're just focusing on what did the Father tell you to do. And then John 12:24, Jesus said, unless a seed falls to the ground and dies, it abides alone. But if it falls into the ground and dies, it springs up and bears much fruit. And he was talking about going to the cross in order to experience the resurrection and give birth to the church. What is it that you are destined and ordained by God to give birth to? Something has to die within the natural man in order for you to stay focused. And how does that happen? Because you anchor your sense of self-referral and who God is in your life, not anchoring your sense of well-being. If this doesn't work out, I'm going to be devastated. No, you're not going to be devastated, because Colossians 3 says, set your affection, your emotional attenuation on those things that are above, where Christ sits at the right hand of God. And having to do what you see the Father do, have no opinion about the consequences, and relinquish the outcome, that deals with your emotions. Now you are in the pressure, in the process that Acts 14:22 talks about, where Paul said he taught that it is through much tribulation you enter the kingdom. Now, the word tribulation there has nothing to do with Jesus saying no to what the cross says yes to. That word tribulation means manifold different layers of different kinds of pressure. God told me, stay linear in the pressure zone. Don't look to the right hand or to the left. Don't look behind you. He said, my soul has no pleasure of him that looks back. So you're going to stay linear. You're not going to change your mind about what you know God said. And as you do that, you enter the kingdom. You press into the pressure. You break out into the kingdom. How do you know you're in the kingdom? Because the kingdom, Romans says, is righteousness, peace, and joy. What is righteousness? It's the ability to stand up right before God. What does that look like in everyday life? It looks like everything you say and do becoming as effective as if God said it or did it. Ask me how I know. You will come into this place where everything you put your hand to is going to prosper. Everywhere you put your foot, God's going to give it to you, because you're cooperating with his process in the pressure that leads to the breakthrough, like when they were rowing across the sea and Jesus stilled the storm. But he didn't just still the storm. It said they were suddenly at land. They were in the middle of the sea. But when Jesus stilled the storm, they were where it would have taken them a long time to row. So God will give you Godspeed acceleration as you cooperate with his process. I want to encourage you to go to www.fathersheartministry.net. Take advantage of the resources there. We have an online school. Part of our online school is our breakthrough track. And the very first course, and these are all donation-based, is Basics in Breakthrough. And these things that I've taught you very briefly in the Mentoring Minute are covered at length to put you in a position to get your version of the breakthrough that I walk in. God bless you.